I'm joined by Bo's boss, Alan Murphy. Alan, this time last year, or even a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago, you would have been preparing to be the assistant manager. All things have changed. Stepping into the hot seat, you must be happy.
Yeah, in some ways it's a natural progression, Aaron. It's not something I planned, to be honest with you, but I'm delighted. I'm delighted with the opportunity. I know the group of players, I know what they're capable of, and look, at just trying to unlock that now is the key,
There was murmurs last year, would have happened, the change in manager, was Alban coming back? Then it was sort of put to bed, and then for it to rear its head so close to the season, how does that sort of disrupt everything and sort of disrupt preparations? Because I'm sure you still, at that stage, would have been well within the recruitment phase.
It's been difficult, I suppose. I was saying to somebody earlier on, you're probably microwaving a pre-season that should be 6 weeks in terms of planning into 2. You're trying to put your own stamp on things as well, so it's a challenge. But look, when you step into these roles, you know what's going to happen.
What's the conversation like with the club to say, Alan, will you take? Because you're obviously asked initially as an interim manager, and then within a short period of time they announce you as the permanent manager. What's that conversation like with the club?
In certain ways, it's straightforward. From a club perspective and from the director of football's perspective, there's been sustainability there in terms of the managers the last couple of years. So they have promoted from within, including Alban last year. So, as I said, conversations are fairly easy when you're already within the club, you know how they operate, and you know the group of players. So it's just making sure that things work at home and things work from a professional or personal point of view as well.
What's the family's reaction? Because it's a big step up, but it's a good recognition as well for your hard work that you've done.
Yeah, it's a huge recognition and one that I really appreciate. They're obviously delighted, and it's like every manager in this league. None of us are professionals, so you really need that support outside of football. And I'm quite lucky that I have that, and it's a football loving family, so I'm really appreciative of that at home as well.
I was talking to your media man earlier today. You're a very secretive club this off-season. Nothing has got out, apart from Fiona Donnelly and Savannah Kane doing a photo shoot. You have kept everything quiet. How's that been for you, sort of settling into that group and taking charge and putting your stamp on it?
It's been really good, really rewarding. I suppose it's the fact that you said we're probably playing catch-up, trying to put a staff together, getting the girls together in terms of sessions, pre-season sessions, working hard. Pretty tough couple of weeks, but really rewarding, I suppose. And as I said to a lot of people, you know what you're getting when you're signing up for these roles, and it's been everything I expected, to be honest with you.
If you look back at last year, so close so far, getting to 2 cup finals, having some unbelievable performances, how do you take a step on this year to go one step further?
I think the results this year have to be, or what we achieved this year have to be a byproduct of having more consistency and improving the girls as players and improving as a group. And there's different circumstances that lead us to the cup finals. So we just need to be consistent, and we need to put our best performances in every week. And I think what we achieve in the back of that is a byproduct, as opposed to setting goals to mimicking last season or trying to copy last season. Because if we start doing that, I think we're on a slippery slope.
What's the biggest learning you've taken from last year, out of the last year's season? Because it was a step on from previous years. What's the biggest learning you would have taken from it?
I think consistency is key. So I think for Bows to be a consistent force on the women's side of the game, there's certain games where we have to be better, and the girls are aware of that. I think that's the biggest learning from us. We know on our day, in terms of the quality we have, we can probably match a lot of the teams in the league. I think we've proven that at this stage. But the biggest learning is that consistency in the long run tends to win you things, and we've seen that with the Athlons and Shells, haven't done that over the past number of years.
How will you differ from previous management? How will you put your stamp on it?
I'll be me. My core goal is to improve the girls as people, and that would be me. So that's not a disrespect to the managers that have been there before, going right back to Sean, Ken, Albin. I'll be me, and I'll try and improve the girls as people. We'll try and improve them as players as well, tactically and technically.
Your leadership group within that team, how important are they during this transition, especially as you say, you're trying to cram everything into a couple of weeks to get pre-season to make sure everything goes key? How important are they to helping you drive your message to make sure that you deliver that message?
Massively. Can't be understated how much the senior players will drive things on. We have an awful lot of younger players, as you know, it's not around the league, but some of them have been in the league now 2 years. So having the likes of Lisa Fee, Maka, Rachel, even though they're quite young themselves, driving things on and driving standards within the group is really important to us. We feel that there's probably 10 or 15% more that individually and as a group that the players can give, and unlocking that, and that leadership group will be key to unlocking that.
Are they key as well when you talk about the consistency? Because we've seen last year there's times where Bohs had a great performance, then you go out the next week and it's either maybe a bit sluggish or it's not where it is. Are they key? Because you can drive a certain amount of standards. They're key to make sure that consistency comes across from a player's viewpoint. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I think also there's managing different game situations and scenarios in games, and I think that's what you're alluding to, where potentially in games we're a little bit naive maybe, and on the front foot too much. So that senior group, I think they have to be able to ride us through those tough patches in games where we may be under pressure. So absolutely, we'll be looking to them this year to improve that consistency.
You would have seen previous years managers probably leaning on you for advice. How important is it that you have the right staff around you this year, that you can turn to them for a bit of advice when in games or in situations? Because it's not just, as you'll say yourself, it's not just a one-man show. It's the big operation helps you get to where you want to get to.
It's a big learning curve for me. I have to flip my perspective on things and be able to lean on people as opposed to being the one that's being leaned on. We won't achieve anything unless we have a good group and a good dynamic in the staff, and I'm comfortable where we are with that. I think we've got a good mix of different personalities. We've got different skills, and I think over the season we'll bring different things to the table. We'll be a flat structure. I'll obviously be the manager, but I'll be dependent on the lads in terms of their key insights and what they see in the game.
Dalymount Park has been massive in terms of crowds, numbers through the gate. You'll be hoping they'll come back and flock even more in the numbers that they were last year to come and support you again this year.
Yeah, Daniel's obviously moved into the commercial side of things, but he referenced it yesterday with the new sponsorship arrangement with Virgin Media. The crowds have been amazing in Dalymount. There's obviously the added feature this year of being the last year in Dalymount. We've had such good events the past number of years, whether that they were finals last year, the Palestine game in 24. We have obviously Rovers being the last game in Dalymount on the horizon this year. The club have backed us to the hilt on that. So really important that we get good gates and continue to improve the women's game as a whole.
Brilliant, Alan. I look forward to catching you this season.
Cheers, Aaron. Thank you.